Creating art in Midjourney can be really frustrating and confusing if it's your first time, especially if you're not used to the platforms that Midjourney operates on. I've created nearly 5,000 pieces of art in Midjourney and clocked in nearly 100 hours. This doesn't make me an expert though. Before we dive in, this video represents just my opinions, and I do not represent Midjourney. Let's get started. What is Midjourney? Midjourney's website says that they're an independent research lab exploring new mediums of thought and expanding the imaginative powers of the human species. To me, they represent a bridge for artists to transform ideas into iterations. Who is Midjourney for? I believe anyone can use this tool, but in the same way that anyone can pick up a paintbrush, it all depends on how you use it. From big design agencies to small artists, Midjourney offers the opportunity to activate our deep ideas. If you find yourself often having 1,000 ideas before breakfast and you're not sure what to do with the thoughts other than to jot them down in the notebook and hope for the best, then Midjourney is going to rock your world. Before using Midjourney, I would often describe my thoughts in a notebook, but I'd only get so far. I can't draw, and my photography has limitations as far as creating conceptual art. For me, Midjourney acts as a sounding board for my imagination at any given moment. If I can describe a really big idea logically, Midjourney can get me really close to where I want to go conceptually. Whether you're an artist, designer, or someone in the process of healing through art, diving into the world of AI art can transform your process and perspective, saving you hours of time and stress along the way. Where is Midjourney hosted? You can find Midjourney in two main locations, the Discord and the Midjourney website. Think of their Discord as a canvas and their website as a gallery. You'll work with a bot in Discord to transmute your thoughts into generative art. It's almost like magic to watch the work come to life, changing with each step the AI takes in creating from scratch. When you're done creating or you want to admire some work, you can head over to the Midjourney website, where you'll find all of your creations, as well as the member gallery. The site has a lot of great features, but for now, let's get you started creating some art in the Midjourney Discord. If you don't already have a Discord account, you need to head over to Discord and sign up. It's pretty straightforward and just requires some basic information like your name, contact information, and what username you'd like. Your next step is to sign up for Midjourney AI. Once you have your Discord all sorted, head over to midjourney.com and you'll see a few different buttons that can take you to different places. Click the one that says Join Beta, and it'll take you directly over to the official Midjourney community over on Discord. This is where you'll find all the official announcements, news, updates, and guides from the people that designed it themselves. Although Midjourney offers a free option, it's very limited in how and where you can use it. Paid memberships start at $10 per month for their basic plan, and although this has limited use, it'll give you more wiggle room than the free option. You're limited to 200 images per month on the basic plan, general commercial terms, and access to the online member gallery where you can see the creations that everybody else has made. I love creating art with Midjourney, and I don't like the idea of being capped at 200. In the $30 per month standard plan, which is the one I use, you get unlimited art generation. Now we're talking. This means all day long you can sit there and come up with different prompts and ideas that are just flowing out of your imagination and never have to worry about hitting that 200 limit. You also get general commercial use and a set number of fast computing hours so you can create your art quicker without having to wait in line behind everybody else. To create your first images in Midjourney, head over to the left-hand panel inside Discord and look for a public channel called Newbies. You'll see a lot of these different channels, and it's just because they fill up and they have to create a new room. Just grab one and hop in. Think of these public channels in Midjourney's Discord kind of like a sandbox. They'll help you get your feet wet in understanding how to create your first artworks with this wonderful tool. But do keep in mind, since these are public channels, they will be inundated with other users putting their thoughts into the mix as well. Although this won't affect your images that you're creating, it will affect your quality of life when it comes to using Midjourney. Once you choose one of the newbie channels on the left that's open, your next job is to come up with an idea to create. Start by going to the text box at the bottom of the page, like where you'd write a message to someone in Discord. Click this box and then type /imagine. When you do, you'll notice that some options appear above that text box. These are called command prompts, and this is what Midjourney uses to operate its bot in Discord. In the options that appear above, click or tap on the Imagine option, and a prompt field will be created automatically. If you don't want to click or tap, you can also use the spacebar, tab, or enter key. A quick note. Be sure that everything you're typing for the bot to create is PG-13 friendly. This rule applies no matter where or how you use the Midjourney Discord bot, regardless of the plan or other features you have added on. There's also a rather large library of banned words that can get you into trouble if you try to use them. If your bot replies and says that you're using a banned word, be careful. Using banned words is outlined in the terms and conditions for using Midjourney, And doing anything to get around these bans or circumvent them can get you permanently banned. But don't worry, if you get a notification saying that you've used a banned word, it's not game over on strike one. Humans review every input that you ask the bot to create, so choose your words wisely. I hear that permanent bans don't come that easy, but it is a process that you move through if you start to show signs that you're trying to break the rules too much. It's best to avoid these altogether and to keep everything PG-13. Once you think of something really cool you'd like to create, think of a detailed but logical description that you could ask the bot to create with. Knowing how to ask for what you hope to create can be half the battle when it comes to using Midjourney. You can put in very few words, but you won't have as much control over the outcome compared to using more details in the words that you choose. Adjectives and sensory language will draw out the details in the creations that you're hoping to make. After writing out your core concept, add some details before you decide to hit enter. First, start with adjectives that describe your scene and subject in greater detail. A giant, towering redwood tree? That'll give you a really different result than just saying a redwood tree. The same way that you could say a terrifying army of vampire rubber ducks instead of just saying rubber ducks. If you want to create a jungle, try saying a mysterious and magical jungle instead of just jungle, and then see what happens. Adding words to your idea without making it too flowery will really bring out the beauty in the details. You can also adjust other elements like aspect ratio, whether or not the whole frame is in focus, the style of focal length like a camera lens, and much more. I'm not an expert in prompting, but there's some really great resources out there that get into the details of that. To start exploring styles, head over to midjourney.com, and once you're logged in, look for an area called Styles. You'll find a large library of all the different styles that Midjourney creates, and recommendations for what each of them looks like. This will give you some great inspiration and a good springboard for your creativity. I personally have a core set of additions that I always like to add depending on the project. To make my life easier and improve the experience, I save these as keyboard shortcuts in my iPhone, or as canned responses on my computer. Then I can just reference those shortcuts at the drop of a hat, and have all those wonderful sensory elements and adjectives ready to rock at any given moment. Here are the top additions that I typically add to my prompts in Midjourney. Each of them starts with -- followed by the command. No DOF means that there's no depth of field and that the whole frame will be in focus. Video will make a time-lapse of the art being created once the process is finished, but this only works for the first iteration. To get a video of your finished process, you can just reply with the envelope emoji. It'll send the original image iteration, as well as that time-lapse video as a direct message. The words test and test P are specific to new features that Midjourney is rolling out. Test P will give you a more photorealistic look, while test will give you a more illustrative and artistic look. Putting the word creative lets the brain behind the AI in Midjourney have more control over what's created. There are other settings to adjust this creativity, but I haven't really messed with those yet. That'll come in a future video. AR means aspect ratio. Putting -- will change the overall shape of your canvas. By default, Midjourney creates in a 1:1 aspect ratio. This means the canvas is square. If you put something like 16:9, you'll get a cinematic look, while if you put something like 2:3, you'll get a portrait. But it's worth noting that if you work in other ratios besides 1:1 squares, then you won't get as many outputs from Midjourney each time. For example, if I do a widescreen 16:9 ratio, it'll only create one artwork. When you're all finished, you'll have a nice long string of descriptive text with those sensory elements and descriptive details following your core concept. You can separate your ideas using commas or 2 colons. If you need something specific to happen, make sure you put it in quotes. Hit enter to send your message to the Midjourney bot and watch the magic happen right before your eyes. If I'm not using new experimental modes like test and test P, and I'm just working with the standard engine behind the wheel, Midjourney will create 4 images at a 1:1 square ratio by default. It does get a little confusing, but it just takes time to figure out and some experimenting. Remember that failure means first attempt and learning. I would rather have more canvas to work with than get some of the subject cut off because of a square aspect ratio. That's why I opt in for the longer and wider settings, knowing that it won't create as many images each time. You just have to approach each idea accordingly and ask yourself, does this need to be horizontal, portrait, or square? If you're in fast mode with a paid plan, then you'll see the bot start to create shortly after you hit enter. You can watch the status as a percentage to 100 on the far right of the top of your message. This is also where you'll find out if you're currently in relaxed or fast mode. If you're in relaxed mode, regardless of your plan, you'll be placed behind other people that are currently waiting. How long you have to wait is variable, and it depends on how busy their servers are at any given moment. I notice that it's often busier on nights and weekends, but as a professional artist, that doesn't bother my process because I'm creating pretty much nonstop. If you're still working in the newbies thread, since it's a public channel, you'll notice that other messages are flooding in before yours is even created. This can get really confusing really quickly. You can scroll up to where yours is at and watch the process happen in real time. When Midjourney finishes creating the artwork, it'll send it to the very bottom of the chat as the newest message. Once you get that first result finished, it's time to iterate and make it great. To do this, you'll use a core set of buttons below the image that Midjourney created for you. These buttons are for variations and upscaling. Let's go over upscaling first. In the top row, you'll notice 4 buttons with the letter U. U1, U2, U3, and U4. These buttons are for upscaling your chosen image. You'll see a different number of buttons depending on how many images were generated. If it only created 2 images, you'll only see U1 and U2. Upscaling an image formally resizes it to 1024, and by default, it'll also generate some additional detail. Sometimes when it upscales, it can get out of hand and throw a lot of noise into your clean background. It might look like dust or scratches on an old photograph. If you notice this, you'll have the opportunity to fix it later. The bottom row is for variations. Left to right, it's V1, V2, V3, and V4. Creating variations will generate new images based on that seed that are similar in style and composition, depending on your selected image. After clicking an upscale button, one of the U buttons, you'll get a few additional options you didn't see before. If you see the button Make Variations, that does the same thing as the variation buttons that say V1, V2, V3, and V4. The variation buttons are typically on the lower row beneath the generated work. If you see the option Upscale to Max, Midjourney will upscale that image to an even larger resolution of roughly 1664 by 1664. The button Light Upscale Redo upscales your image again, starting over but without as much detail. This will get rid of that dust and scratches effect I mentioned earlier. Keep in mind that all of these additional buttons and steps count towards your maximum. For the free plan, it's 25 free images, so choose your upscaling and variations wisely. Because you only get 25 free jobs, I highly recommend you check out one of the paid plans, even if it's the basic plan. Creating variations and upscaling is a process. For me, I typically do anywhere from 10 to 25 and even 50 plus variations and upscales before I'm happy with the final result. It's not a one and done solution, and I often find myself going into Photoshop afterwards to continue working on the scene to get it to where I truly want it to go. To save your finalized image, react with an envelope emoji. If you're on the desktop, right-click the message, then go to Add Reactions and search the word envelope. Then click the envelope to react. After that, it'll send a direct message to you at the very bottom of the thread with your finalized work, including a time-lapse video if you use the command --video. But remember, that only works for the first iteration. If you're on a mobile, it's as easy as holding your finger down and looking for that envelope reaction. If you don't see it in the shortcuts immediately, you can click the emoji icon in the top right, then search for the word envelope and click the according emoji. In the same way, Midjourney will send the finalized image and/or time-lapse to the bottom of your message as the newest one. After you've done this process a few times, that envelope emoji is saved as a recent reaction so you can get to it easier, without having to search through that emoji library. One of the biggest problems in working in the public channels like #newbie or any other Discord that hosts the Midjourney bot is it can get really clouded with other people's thoughts and processes along the way. As a creative professional, I need that sacred solo space where I can work and not get distracted by others. One of the most common questions about Midjourney is how you get a one-on-one conversation with the Midjourney bot. The only way to do this is to become a paid subscriber, and you can actually do that directly with the Midjourney bot on Discord. It's as easy as typing in /subscribe and then hitting enter. That's when the Midjourney bot will reply with an official link for you to go visit your profile online. It'll take you directly to the subscriptions page where you can pick your plan and go from there. After you're a paid subscriber, you can use the Midjourney bot in your direct messages privately, instead of working in those busy and chaotic channels like #newbies. But keep in mind that just because you're working in a direct message environment with the bot does not make your creations private. It's also worth noting that everything you create, no matter where you're at, is still subject to the terms and conditions and rules that Midjourney has set forth, so keep it PG-13. Whatever you create in a direct message with your Midjourney bot will still appear on Midjourney's member gallery and your public profile. There is an optional add-on. For $20 per month, you can protect all of your creations. They'll be completely private. This is great for secret work on your next big project or client work that you can't share with the public yet. I haven't used the $20 per month privacy add-on, and I don't think it's for most people. If you're a paid subscriber, here's how you can start a direct message with the Midjourney bot. Step 1. Head over to a place where you've already created some work with Midjourney. If you can't find that work again, go to the Newbies channel and create a new piece. Once it's ready, react with an envelope emoji, and it'll send you a direct message. You can find it in Discord on the left-hand panel where your direct messages are listed. Look for a white icon with a line drawing of a sailboat. After finding that direct message, you can continue creating privately, just you and Midjourney. But keep in mind that these images still end up in the Midjourney gallery online and on your public profile, unless you're paying for that privacy add-on at $20 per month. Thanks for checking out this video. If you found it helpful, please subscribe and leave a like below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and connect with you about creating art in the world of Midjourney. And if you haven't checked it out, be sure to watch my video on the magic of Midjourney. Happy creating!